OpenBridge 2022 Release 2. For a complete list of our product versions, please visit docs.bentley.com/live content. We'll look into OpenBridge Designer 2022 Release 2 platform updates. In this release, we include MicroStation Platform Update 17.2, Civil Platform Update 10.12.1, Open Roads 2022 Release 2, Pro Structures Update 7.2, Certified with ProjectWise version 1 10.00.03.453, Generative Components version 10.17.2.15, GINT 10.00.41, Descartes 10.17.2.61, Connection Client 11.00.04.15. To see more complete overview of what's new in these updates, please refer to the following resources in the communitiesbentley.com. OpenBridge Designer 2022 Release 2. OpenBridge Designer restricts some unsupported characters. Those are mentioned here. We have added a checkbox in the transfer dialog to initialize the RM folder under Beam workflow. When big changes were made in physical model previously, sometimes the RM model was not initialized correctly. Now we have added this to eliminate this problem. In OpenBridge, now the piles defined as a pipe in OBM can be transferred to RM as well. We have added capability to transfer custom footings and attached piles. Also, we have enhanced abutment transfer by creating it as a pier with footings and piles with this button here. We have some analytical enhancement for concrete and steel element as per Pennsylvania Department of Transport Authority requirement. Now we'll look into OpenBridge Modular updates. The new release 10.12 can be installed while the previous one is also installed. It will be side by side and will be installed in a separate folder. Due to schema changes in OpenBridge Modular, when opening old files, there is an option to upgrade to the new version. These are the new enhancements in the 2022 Release 2 version. Let's have a quick look before jumping into detail. The first one is single beam in beam and slab type bridges. So we can now model a single beam bridge. Second one, we have barriers on wing walls. Barriers can be modeled on top of wing walls with transverse and longitudinal offsets as well. Third one is the barrier end cut orientation. We have now a start and end cut orientation and apply independently. The fourth update is the improved bearing elevations. For bearings, bearing seats, grout pads, it shows all elevations. Like here, we can see bearing top elevation, bearing seat top elevation, and new bearing elevation table is shown from the 2022 Release 2 version. In this release, 2D decorations for bearings, bearing seats, and grout pads are also available. The next one we have is the offsets in wing walls, which is now we can do longitudinal and transverse offset using our 2022 release 2 version. In this release, steel types properties and item types are also available for the different segments like flanges and webs and volumes, materials, all are available. The next one we have is about splice plate. The inner plate underneath the top flange or the top plate on top of the bottom flange, we can now put the thickness as 0. So we can see here this is before. It used to be like bottom plate and top plate. Now we can put as 0 thickness underneath the top flange, is there is no plate. This is another one, improved superstructure drawings, where we can see the PGL is shown and also the slope. It doesn't have any sign, positive or negative. It is an absolute value now, and also the direction is corrected. Number 10 is accurate modeling of haunch on open concrete tubs in the 2022 release 2. Here we can see the haunches are only on the flanges, not on top of the open areas. The next one we have is the crown cap. Crown cap bottom now is sloped and it does follow the top as well. So again, for pile cap and pier abutments, it does the same thing now. And for the piles, the embedment length is measured from the bottom of the pile cap. So it used to be like previously it has this, like it used to be a gap because it didn't understand the slope. Now it does understand the slope, and thus the embedment length comes from the bottom of the pile cap, and it does go into the pile cap as we give the input. Similarly, we have these things for the abutment as well, and it does um, follow the slope as the top one, and it has the same capability for the crown cap for inverted T piers like this. The next one we have is footing elevation and digital terrain model. Previously, it used to count only the center top of a footing. Now it has the capability of checking additional 4 points at the corners. And what it means, it then it's actually, if we go into the next page, what it means, it can calculate the minimum like soil height from the corner instead of from the center. And thus it used to be like this previously, but now it can calculate like what we have provided at the corner, so it can be like this. In this version, we have the ability now to add skew options for caps, whether it is piers, tapered caps, or inverted T. We have the ability to apply skew to solids. In this 2022 release 2 version, we have added the capability of sloped bearing seat options for piers and abutments. So we just need to check this model as sloped bearing seats, and then it will be like slope in between the bearing. It will be like this. The next one is generative components. So we have added generative components in the workflows of OpenBridge Modular and in the OpenBridge Designer in 2022 release 2. In this version, we have added the capability of modeling customized abutments and piers using generative components as an OpenBridge modular pier. In the 2022 release 2 version, accurate excavation for custom footings has been added. And we can see those are the many shapes as an example here. So we can do the excavation for them. In the 2022 release 2 version, there are some other minor enhancements. One is it does show direction of bearings on in the pier abutment report. Also, we can see civil analytical data for HECRAS. There is an option now. And then also we can see beam spacing, which can be now normal or along the skew. Also, there is another one is advanced bearing definitions, which can be longitudinal offset or transverse offset as well. Updates in LibBridge Concrete. Calculations and reference articles are now referenced to Pennsylvania Department of Transport design manual. Like here, elastic shortening, steel relaxations, horizontal shears, those are as per the PennDOT DM. Uh, as per the PennDOT DM. Here is also the custom maximum permitted spacing for shear reinforcement as per the manual. Besides, LibBridge Concrete now support new deformed steel reinforcement as per ACI. The other one in the LibBridge Concrete that we have is it does allow users now to specify girder type as either adjacent or a specific or a spread box girder for live load distribution factor calculation purpose, which is we can define here. Updates in LibBridge Steel. In LibBridge Steel, we have included the field splice self-weight in analysis and design. Then we have added the capability of renaming dead load of wearing surface and utility to add clarity in the load combinations. It does now support the load rating of Pennsylvania Department of Transport's custom load group, strength IP. It does allow users to custom shear correction factor for live load distribution factors when there is a skew. It does create new reaction reports due to live load without impact at supports. It does support fatigue checking categories B and E. B for bolted connection and E for curved bridges. And it does support wind loads in construction stages. Now, updates in RM Bridge. Spring connections in modular now prepared for finite element models. The spring connections in modulars have been enhanced for finite shell models. The options available in spring connected to 0 were extended to spring elements connecting two different nodes as well. The other one is eigenschedule action and mass participation factors for rotations. Users can have access to mass participation factors in global translations XYZ direction and global rotations RX, RY, RZ. Results can be seen in main view and in the output.lst file.